The checkered flag is about to wave on us here at Talk Fast, Turn Left, but not before we have one final fast flying interview talking all of the fun at .conf this year. We've got none other than Splunk's CEO, Doug Merritt, joining us today for some racing action. Be sure to sign up for Splunk's .conf 21 happening next week, October 19th and 20th. It's Splunk's biggest event of the year, and we've worked hard to make it an amazing one. You'll get even more out of your time at .conf if you participate in our awesome Bots and Boo and Data Drivers events too. Links to sign up for these are in the chat. We've had some awesome chats with Teresa, Spiros, James, and Juliana this week, but it's time to see if Doug Merritt can take home the prize for fastest Splunker in Talk Fast, Turn Left. Let's check in with Cory and hear what Doug's looking forward to next week and see if he's got the speed to win it all.
Well, thank you, Haley, so much for the kickoff. We are here with Doug Merritt, CEO of Splunk, and Doug is strapped in and ready to go. How you feeling, Doug?
Good, Cory. So I'm not supposed to move until the car in front of me moves, right?
That's right. We're in the gridding stage, so the race is set.
I have to gear up once they start to move.
That's exactly right. So you'll slap it into first gear and then give it gas. Once they start moving, you'll be good to go.
Yep.
Well, today we are excited to wrap up the Talk Fast, Turn Left series, where we've been chatting with some other Splunkers, hearing about their excitement for .conf, and getting them behind the wheel and having to drive 200 miles an hour while answering my questions. Do you think you're going to be able to keep your car on track while your talk on track?
You know, during the no other cars on the track pit, that was great. I have no idea what's going to look like with other cars on the track.
Well, nice. Well, it's good. You've got a bunch of Splunkers, some Splunk partners and Splunk customers that we are super glad to have part of the data drivers community. As I was telling you before, we've had a really good time over the last 6 months using iRacing and their telemetry API to collect over 400 metrics in real time about these cars and start to teach people how to use Splunk in this really fun and approachable data set. So when you think about racing, I'm curious, I know you're a big racing fan. Tell us a little bit about the partnership with McLaren and what excites you about it.
Really excited about the partnership. It's the main impetus, actually, McLaren approached us a couple of years ago, was the importance of data to the successful conclusion and the progression of F1 racers, especially as they're finally, thank goodness, implementing spending caps and trying to get this to be a little bit more of a level playing field.
Yep. Okay, now you can gear up. Yep, you're good.
Okay, there we go. Oh, that's a bad start.
Soft gas, and get back.
All right.
It's all right, and then whoa.
Yeah. I feel like Cal Naughton Jr. right now.
That's right. You're shaking and baking before we even get going. Yeah, there you go. You're fine. Just keep cruising. There you go. Now you'll just kind of slowly catch up with that crowd and catch that 5 car. That's perfect. It is hard when they start you on the bank of that straightaway. These cars.
I had no idea.
So this is not as refined as a beautiful McLaren GT3 car or a McLaren F1 car. These are NASCAR races, which you'll be right behind that blue car on the left. Oh, there you go. Right there, you're right there. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Slow down just a little bit. Get behind that car that you're in front of right there. It would be perfect. Excellent. Yeah, drop back right there. You're going to stay right behind.
Okay.
Oh, I think actually you're one more car behind. That's the 4 car. You can just pull down to the left a little bit and let them by. It's all good.
Okay. Is it other live racers?
Yeah, it is. It's actually other real racers with you. So there you go, right behind that car, and you're good to go. So you were talking about McLaren came to you about data being just critical. Now you're going to get a green flag here in just a second, so you'll be ready to go racing as you see them. Oh, I think they're going to do another lap. Oh, no, he dived down. All right, so now you're ready to go. Keep up with them and shift up as you go, and you'll be racing. And as a reminder for our audience, Doug is racing against the other 4 Splunkers that have been on. Yes, there's other people on track, but he's really trying to get his best. Other side will go up. Other side. Yeah, there you go.
Downshifted to catch up.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. So, Doug, you were talking about the data is a critical component of McLaren's success. I want to pull on that thread a little bit. What do they mean by that? Like, what's important to them from a data perspective in decision making?
Well, we actually saw this last weekend, or 2 weekends ago. No, last weekend in Russia with Lando. The moment-to-moment interactions that these drivers and the teams have to be able to make an effective call around over Russia was, is it going to rain or not? Now, again, that's a bit of a judgment call there, but using Splunk, we now know that we should be tapping into a series of weather sources to see if we can give better information. But when do you pit? What's going on with all aspects of the car? What's happening with the tires? Road position? Like, it all becomes incredibly important to the success of these drivers. And again, before the Netflix series and before really starting to pay attention to racing, I had no idea how data intensive this sport was. But as Zach and the McLaren team approached us and I became much more of a fan and paying much more attention to it, it's clearly very, very, very heavily dependent on the quality and availability of data.
Yeah, and that's really the whole story with Splunk and our data to everything story. I think that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about .conf next week, is to hear those stories. And one of those stories that we're going to hear there, Doug, is actually from McLaren themselves talking about it. I know Edward Green's got a talk that he's going to be, showing the folks how their team leverages the data. And we heard last year that they've got like some 300 and something metrics that spit off those cars many, many times a second. I'm curious from your perspective, like when you think about racing, is it a pretty good analog for like the rest of the world? Like, is it true everywhere else too?
Obviously, we at Splunk think so. It's you're generating over 1.5 terabytes of data per race for the Formula One drivers, which I think is a great analog to what are we trying to do with our businesses. That we finally, with everything having silicon or almost everything having silicon attached to it, and everything or almost everything being network attached in some way or another, you've got the ability to get millisecond by millisecond sense and respond information, which is radically different than what we've had for the past centuries, but certainly even the past 40, 50 years to help guide our business decisions. We're dealing with very sparse historical data, generally well-mannered, which is nice. But not as helpful as what is happening moment by moment as consumers or employees or partners or materials are moving through an organization and out to customers. So it is for all of us to, I think, to operate more effectively, especially as we continue on this massive digitization realm that COVID has helped us with. Being able to understand that data, being able to actually capture that data, and then be able to play with and gain insights from that data, I think is becoming a business imperative for all organizations out there.
Yeah, we experienced that absolutely with our data driver series. So we actually were, kind of using iRacing and the data off these race cars as an analog for in real life, what the observability and IT operations teams out there deal with. And one of the things that was really important for us, and I think is important for a lot of Splunk customers and people thinking about Splunk, and frankly about any data analytics project, is the business outcomes we're trying to drive. And one of the things that's interesting for me is, talking with an F1 team, and I know you have an audience with Zach and Lando and these great folks, that we found audience with McLaren Shadow. So the McLaren Shadow team is one that Splunk is now partnered with heavily, and they've been super good about giving us in the data drivers kind of role, guidance of the business outcomes they're trying to drive. So I'm curious from your perspective, when you think about the partnership with not just McLaren, but McLaren Shadow, what's Splunk's goal in investing in a relationship like that?
Yeah, I mean, Shadow is a great example because it is literally all online. So it's a great proxy for what are we trying to do with helping cybersecurity teams, where you're trying to help with how we're trying to help DevOps teams, app dev teams, and infrastructure management teams. And it's super common information from what we'd see on an F1 type of ingestion. What's happening with tires, what's happening with track quality, what's happening with engine quality, what's happening with car position and driver fatigue, et cetera. So it's one more avenue for us to understand, experiment, iterate. In this case, iterate a little bit more constantly and rapidly than once a week or once every few weeks just for the physical season, to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can every day to help the McLaren team up their performance. And again, especially as we talked about at the very, very beginning, as the competition hopefully will flatten a little bit with better cost control and spend control. I'm really excited to see what the power of data can do when it's a more level playing field.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The changes they're making to the F1 cars, the budgets, and everything else. I'm very excited to see the competitiveness of racing. On the flip side of it, you take in a series like NASCAR that we're racing in here, where the standards are significantly more rigid, sort of in car performance, those kind of things. So hopefully they find a hybrid balance of that, where there's still an opportunity for that engineering differentiation, just that it's a more efficiently found and not purchased. That'll be fun to watch.
Innovation is still super important, but how do you still keep it interesting for the fans and not have it be the runaway that it clearly has been the past decade?
Yeah.
That's just such a significant equation.
Yeah, so Splunk's been in kind of a fun runaway position. We keep getting notifications of these fantastic honors of Splunk leading the way in cybersecurity and across IT operations. I mean, there's been some great announcements lately. I'm curious, when you think about the things that make you proudest and happiest about from a Splunk perspective, what are those things that you're most excited about generally as a company, and kind of where we're going in the current direction we're headed?
The number one thing that impresses me about our incredible employee base and our partners and our customers and kind of the whole ecosystem around Splunk is the willingness to take risks and to innovate. We have moved pretty dramatically from a effort perspective and, to an extent, delivery perspective, from being an investigative tool with no real applications on top and only index and search, and from being a on-prem customer managed, self-managed footprint to where we are now with cloud. On top of that, our willingness to take risks, get into APM and digital experience management and real user management as a departure from the known state that we've been operating in from a cyber and infrastructure management IT ops type of realm, to make sure that we're listening to our customers and following their need set so we can continue to be where they need us to be. We just had a really nice observability expansion with an Australian customer that's one of the most intensive cloud companies in the world that we've been working with for almost 5 years on how do we help them make sure that their customers' cloud experience is at the level that this company needs for those customers to continue to be successful. And that tight partnership with customers, with analysts and others, to make sure that we don't take our eye off of customer need so that we can keep supporting our customers and be willing to take big risks, I think is something that hopefully will continue to be a Splunk standout for years to come.
Yeah. So funny enough, I'm looking, I guess in that right front tire is getting a little toasty. Oh, look, you got a crashed car down there. They got towed out of there. So somebody else is experiencing what I think you are, which is you're about 16 laps in here, and you're starting to get some tire wear and a little bit of tire heating on this super speedway. So I guess it looks like it's getting a little bit harder to get it to turn in on those two turns.
Does that mean I need a pit at some point?
No, it's just the nature of the race. I mean, we've only got about 6 minutes remaining, so you probably, based on these lap times, that's another 12 to 14 laps. And so I think I'd stay out there. The problem with pitting, if it's required, like it is in F1, you got to do it, and you got to make a strategy call and do it at the right time. In this case, your tires technically can hold it no problem through the race. You've got enough fuel to get through it. And so really sacrificing that time that it takes to go through the pit process, it's probably not. You want to make sure you try to get back ahead.
I get a better feel for why this is called turn left.
That's right. Yeah, the NASCAR tracks, we don't do too many on curved road courses like they do in F1. But Doug, we are running a series during .conf next week called Lights Out at .conf, and it's going to be a racing series powered by our data drivers technology, where we're collecting all this data off iRacing and making some broadcasts, and folks around the world are going to be able to compete with us. So hopefully we can get you in the driver's seat again next week. And the fun part is we're actually going to have it 3 qualifying races that'll catch sort of everybody around the world, and then the championship races on Thursday morning after the completion of .conf. And the folks are going to have to race in cars, depending on how they qualify, in increasing order of speed. So if you qualify first in those races, you're going to get a rather slow car. And
I like it.
And if you are slow, then you're going to get to drive something like a McLaren F1 car. And so we're going to have some fun.
That's
and we're going to
great.
We're going to take it out to Circuit of the Americas virtually, because I know the race the following week is at Circuit of the Americas. Are you going to be able to attend the race at Circuit?
I'm very excited about it.
Fantastic. I know we're looking forward to seeing the Splunk livery out there and the McLaren team doing their best. So next week is Conf, right? We've got a ton of activities planned, both, from the keynotes. I know there's going to be some exciting things happening there. Lots of great sessions planned, lots of great stuff in the data playground. But, if folks are on the fence on whether or not to register for .conf, what would you say to them? Like, what is your thing, like your most excitement about Conf and really the reason why folks should be paying attention to this great conference?
Well, first of all, as you'd expect from Splunk, there's some really cool, interesting surprises that will be much better in the moment. Oh, no. I got hacked.
That's John Hayward.
That's embarrassing.
We refer to him as the silent assassin. He's a software engineer out in the UK. You're
what
clear.
Is happening? Like, I am in fifth gear, pedal all the way down. Obviously, my track position's not right. Okay, I'm going to learn from these guys.
Well, you're also seeing something that's true in NASCAR, which is there is significant advantages for cars bundling up. Yeah. So one car punches through the air, the other one sort of, keeps the hole open, and it makes everybody go faster.
Yeah. So I'm learning. So there are some really cool surprises. I don't think people are going to want to miss. But on top of that, the progress we made over the past 12 months, especially as we continue to ramp up our cloud footprint, and it gives us so much more capability as far as feature velocity, ML velocity, feedback from customers. I'm really excited about the announcements that we have coming out at Splunk at .conf and the demos that we're driving as well. I think they're really in tune with what customers have continued to ask for. And you'll see some really interesting things around edge and getting data in much more effectively, cheapening the overall footprint of Splunk, doing a much better job of leveraging the technology in cloud and not in cloud to make sure that you can deliver everything you need to your end users, but still do it affordably. Great advancements in the security portfolio, the observability portfolio. We've done some interesting acquisitions over the past year. They're being integrated in. So a really interesting product lineup, as well as services, customer success, and partner lineup to help make sure that customers are as successful as they possibly can be with Splunk as they continue their own journey to make sure that they're responsive to their customers, employees, and getting as many workloads as possible into the cloud. It's going to be, I think, a really productive few days.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's always one of our favorite times of the year. And, the idea that we're also going to get to have not only the fun of the presentations and the learning opportunities that come with Splunk Education, but also we've got some fun events in our BOSS program. So boss of the SOC and the boss of observability and ops.
Yes.
I know you're a fan of those programs. They're great, aren't they?
They're great. I'm really excited about seeing the competition there. I think we'll probably have the largest gamification and capture the flag series ever held with a boss of the SOC. And I think the improvements and the addition of the observability components to what was once boss of the NOC, and now we're calling BOO, which I love, boss of observability. I think people will really love that as well.
Well, I'm glad you love that. Our team was part of the renaming committee, and there was a lot of people that were on the fence on if taking away boss of the NOC was, just a bad thing to do. But I'm personally a big fan, and it's fun to have the little ghost to to find in the machine, and lots of cool iconography.
Yeah.
So
I'm definitely excited about that one.
That's fantastic. Now, we are going to have, just as a heads up to our viewers, we are going to have the Data Drivers Lights Out series. So make sure that you're checking that out. And you'll find a lot of, we talked about some use cases from a racing perspective that are neat, but there's also a thing called the Data Playground at Splunk.conf this year, which is going to introduce folks to some really cool ones. And I got a preview of the Data to Beer episode that's going to be in the Data Playground. Yes. That is too cool, isn't it?
I cannot wait for that. I think people will really enjoy that. It's super well done.
Yeah.
You really can bring data to just about anything. I think it's a great example of how to make sure that your home brewing passions are extremely well done and your guests are delighted.
That's right. Well, one of the things that I think is abundantly true is that and part of the reason why we had this Data Driver series, Doug, was that it's about giving people an opportunity to learn, sort of outside the box of their day job. So we were using tools that were designed obviously for observability and IT and, intelligence use cases, but applying it to race data. And I always argue that that's one of the most important things is find a passionate way to learn things and then learn how to use them in the box of your job. So hopefully they're getting that. Now you're at the last lap here. Your fastest lap so far, 32.6. How do you think that's going to hold up against our other Splunkers so far?
Probably not very, very, very effective. Since I've been passed by everybody on this track so far.
Well, I think you've done good. You didn't get wrecked and you didn't have to go into the pit. So that's huge. Yeah. And, it's been fantastic to talk with you, Doug. I want to just go ahead and, tell folks again, register for .conf. You can register in the links in the chat. And as Doug said, .conf is going to be a lot of fun. Doug, thanks so much for racing with us today. If you have anything you want to leave the data drivers community with, what would that be?
Have a fantastic time at .conf. Everyone, you're going to love it. Like, show up and immerse yourself in, certainly the keynotes are great, but the super sessions and just even more importantimportantly, the customer sessions, the partner sessions, like there is so much interesting and thoughtful work that people are doing. And as we've always talked about with Splunk, it's all about the curiosity, the play, the fun to see what other problems you can solve. And I can't wait to virtually see so many of you and get back to physical sooner versus later.
That's nice. Well, if you want to slow down, one of the best things about NASCAR is that you can slow down, come to a stop, and then do some burnouts on track if you want to have a little fun spinning out in this 3-monitor setup. While Doug's doing that, I just want to say thank you all again for joining the Talk Fast, Turn Left series. Stay tuned after this as we'll be providing an update on the winners from our series for all the bragging rights going into .conf. And Doug Merritt, thank you again for being our final guest on Talk Fast, Turn Left. And
thank you for having me. I love the work that you do, and I'm super excited about to see all the product of your work.
That's right. We're waving the checkered flag on Talk Fast, Turn Left. And I want to say a special thank you to Teresa, James, Juliana, and Doug for joining us. And congratulations to Spiro Santos for driving the fastest lap around Las Vegas Motor Speedway in that NASCAR Next Gen Cup car on iRacing. Congratulations. And I'm so proud to see you winning things for the IT and observability team here at Splunk. Well, I do want to encourage you all. Thank you for joining us on this wild race, but we want to see you next week at Conf 21. And we know it's virtual and it's free, and you can sign up at conf.splunk.com. And it's going to be an amazing opportunity for you to hear more about Splunk's products, our direction, but most importantly, incredible stories of how our customers and partners are using technology to improve their business and the world around them. And I do want to say that we're going to have some great McLaren experiences and folks showing up throughout the conference. So be sure, if you're into racing, it's going to be a great one for you. I also want to encourage you that if you want to get hands-on with Splunk and learn about these IT and observability tools we've been talking about throughout the week, sign up for Boss of Ops and Observability. It's a gamified experience where you'll get hands-on with Splunk, and you'll actually get access to 2 episodes in that game that are actually based on the data drivers data collection we've done on iRacing. So you'll get hands-on with Splunk and hands-on with racing data, which hopefully for you viewers is a lot of fun and right up your alley. So sign up for that at boo.splunk.com. And if you really want to get hands-on with us, we're actually hosting a racing series called Lights Out at .conf 21. We've been talking about it all week. You can sign up on the link in the chat, and it's going to be a fun race. 3 races to qualify, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in the MX5 Cup on iRacing. So you do need to have iRacing to participate. Sign up in the form as we talked about. But that final race on Thursday, I want to encourage you, one, if you can race in it, great. If you can't, come back and watch the broadcast here on Twitch, because it's going to be absolutely wild. We're going to take the fastest drivers from the 3 qualifying races, put them in really the slowest race cars, and then we're going to put the slowest drivers and put them in the fastest race cars possible on iRacing. Think the F1 McLaren race car. And that disparity is going to be probably pretty fun to watch on screen. So hopefully you'll get a chance to join us on Thursday, and make sure you'll actually get a chance to see some of the dashboards and cool things that we've created during Data Drivers. Thank you again for watching Talk Fast, Turn Left. Be sure to sign up for .conf, hang out with us and play the game at Boo, and definitely come racing with us in Lights Out for .conf 21. And as I always say, whatever you're into, be data-driven and join Data Drivers.